Imagine for a moment you had a bank account that credited you $86,400 every single day. But at the end of the day, anything you didn't use would vanish forever. How many of you would waste even a single dollar? Every second you sit hesitating, every minute you spend making excuses, that's exactly what you're doing. You're squandering the richest currency you'll ever possess, your time. And the truth is, no one can get it back. Not your friends, not your family, no one. Time is the one resource that is absolutely non-renewable. Every single moment that passes is gone forever. And no matter how much money, influence, or skill we acquire, we cannot buy back a single second. Yet most people live as if time is infinite, squandering it on distractions, overthinking, or meaningless tasks that do not move them closer to their goals. The illusion that there is always more time creates a false sense of security, and it quietly steals the life that could have been lived with purpose, focus, and relentless pursuit of meaningful action. People often delay starting projects, hesitate to pursue dreams, or postpone decisions because they believe that tomorrow will always offer another chance. But tomorrow is not guaranteed, and the accumulation of these delays, these small procrastinations, compounds over time into lost opportunities that can never be recovered. When we truly understand the value of each passing moment, everything changes. Decisions that once seemed trivial become urgent. Priorities that were previously ignored gain clarity. The habits we form, the energy we spend, and the focus we choose all take on a new weight because we recognize that time wasted is a cost that can never be refunded. In this light, every day becomes a gift, every hour a chance to move closer to the person we want to become, and every minute a step toward a life of significance. People who harness this understanding do not wait for external motivation. They internalize the scarcity of time as fuel to push forward, to act decisively, and to seize control of their lives. Moreover, recognizing the precious nature of time is a wake-up call against distractions that infiltrate our lives. Social media, endless scrolling, passive consumption of content, or waiting for conditions to be perfect all drain our energy and silently steal hours that could have been used for growth, creation, and progress. The difference between those who achieve extraordinary results and those who remain stagnant is often not talent or luck, but awareness of how they spend their hours and the deliberate choice to invest them wisely. Every action taken in alignment with purpose compounds over time, creating momentum that accelerates success, while wasted time leaves people stuck, frustrated, and unfulfilled. When people embrace the reality of time scarcity, they begin to live with urgency, clarity, and intention. Each decision, each movement, and each second is treated as an asset to be maximized, not a liability to be squandered. The mindset shift from taking time for granted to honoring its value transforms not just productivity, but the very essence of life, because it aligns daily actions with long-term goals, ensuring that every effort counts in the journey toward meaningful achievement. Decisions are the catalysts of transformation. Life is not shaped by chance or circumstance, but by the choices we make in every moment. Every significant achievement, every breakthrough, and every personal evolution begins with a single decisive step, a commitment to act, regardless of fear, uncertainty, or doubt. Too often people wait for the perfect moment, or for clarity to magically appear, believing that conditions must align before taking action. But waiting is a trap, a subtle form of self-sabotage that keeps potential locked behind hesitation. The truth is that clarity and confidence are not prerequisites for success. They are the byproducts of decisive action. The moment we decide to move, to push past hesitation, and to embrace responsibility for our own lives, momentum begins to build and doors that were previously invisible start to open. Making a decision is more than just choosing between options. It is an act of courage that signals to your mind, body, and spirit that you are committed to growth. When a person decides to take action, even imperfectly, the universe responds with opportunities, challenges, and resources that align with that choice. Indecision, on the other hand, creates paralysis, a state where potential is wasted and energy dissipates in uncertainty. Every day that passes without a clear choice is a day where your life is dictated by circumstances rather than by deliberate intent. By embracing the power of decision, we reclaim control over our path and stop allowing external forces or internal fears to dictate the trajectory of our lives. Decisions are not just one-time events. They are the foundation of habits, behaviors, and ultimately, destiny. Small, Seemingly insignificant decisions accumulate over time to define the quality of a person's life. Choosing to act, to persist, to learn, and to take responsibility compounds into skill, confidence, and resilience. Conversely, repeatedly choosing inaction, procrastination, or avoidance compounds into regret, stagnation, and missed opportunities. The clarity that comes from making decisions empowers a person to focus their energy, prioritize effectively, and move with intention, rather than being tossed around by distraction and indecision. The power of decisions is magnified when paired with accountability and action. It is not enough to merely decide. The decision must be followed by measurable steps, consistent effort, and a willingness to adapt when obstacles arise. Every moment of hesitation delays the results that could have been achieved, while every bold choice propels a person toward transformation. Understanding that every decision carries weight, that each choice is a declaration of one's priorities and values, transforms the way a person approaches life, turning uncertainty into opportunity and potential into tangible results. Fear and excuses are the invisible chains that hold people back from achieving their true potential. They disguise themselves as valid reasons, convincing us that waiting, hesitating, or avoiding action is safer than confronting the unknown. Fear is not just an emotion, it is a signal that growth is near, that stepping into discomfort is required, and that transformation is on the horizon. Yet, most people interpret fear as a warning to stop, rather than a compass pointing toward the areas where they must act. Excuses are fear's accomplices, dressed in logic, reasoning, and justification. They allow people to rationalize inaction and to maintain the illusion of safety, but in reality, they quietly erode confidence, momentum, and opportunity. Every excuse given, every fear indulged, creates distance between where a person is and where they could be, forming a barrier that grows stronger the longer it is tolerated. Overcoming fear and excuses begins with awareness. Recognizing that these barriers are natural but not insurmountable is the first step toward liberation. Fear often signals that a decision is significant, that the stakes matter, and that courage is required. By reframing fear as an indicator of importance rather than as a deterrent, people can transform hesitation into action. Excuses, when examined closely, almost always reveal underlying doubts, limiting beliefs, or discomfort with accountability. Confronting these excuses directly, acknowledging their presence, and choosing to act anyway strengthens resilience, builds confidence, and fosters a sense of empowerment that no external validation can provide. Action is the antidote to fear and excuses. The very act of moving forward, even imperfectly, diminishes fear's intensity and exposes excuses for what they truly are, illusions that prevent growth. Every step taken breaks the pattern of avoidance, proving to oneself that fear is not a barrier, but a challenge to be navigated. People who consistently act despite fear develop a mindset where hesitation is replaced with momentum, doubt is replaced with clarity, and excuses are replaced with accountability. This process is not about the absence of fear, but about refusing to let fear control decisions, behaviors, or the trajectory of life. Moreover, the act of confronting fear and eliminating excuses produces exponential benefits. It accelerates personal growth, strengthens decision-making skills, and fosters an internal authority that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. Each instance of courage compounds over time, creating a feedback loop where action breeds confidence, confidence breeds action, and fear loses its grip. In this way, success is not a matter of luck or innate talent, but a result of repeatedly choosing to act when fear tempts one to retreat and refusing to accept excuses as acceptable reasons for stagnation. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in achieving success, yet it is often underestimated or misunderstood. Many people wait for motivation to strike or for the perfect conditions to appear, not realizing that momentum does not come from waiting. It comes from action. The smallest steps, taken consistently and deliberately, create energy that propels a person forward, making subsequent actions easier and more effective. Just like a snowball rolling down a hill, the initial push may require effort, but as movement builds, the process becomes self-sustaining. Momentum transforms hesitation into confidence, indecision into clarity, and potential into measurable results. Without it, even the most ambitious plans remain dormant, stuck in the realm of ideas rather than reality. Taking consistent action is the key to generating momentum. People often overestimate what they can achieve in a single day, while underestimating what they can accomplish over time. Small, focused efforts accumulate, producing results that compound into significant progress. It is not the giant leaps, but the repeated, deliberate steps that fuel the kind of acceleration that leads to breakthroughs. Momentum works because action builds belief. Each completed task, each challenge faced, reinforces the sense of capability and reinforces the internal proof that progress is possible. This reinforcement motivates further action, creating a cycle where doing becomes easier and hesitation becomes less frequent. Momentum also plays a critical role in overcoming obstacles. When a person is moving forward, challenges are approached with energy and creativity rather than fear and avoidance. Inertia, the force that keeps people stuck, is countered by the very act of movement. Once a pattern of consistent action is established, the mind begins to anticipate forward motion as the default state, making procrastination and doubt less compelling. This is why starting, no matter how small the first step may be, is more important than waiting for inspiration or perfect planning. Action is the trigger that sets the chain reaction of momentum into motion, and the longer it continues, the more unstoppable it becomes. Moreover, momentum amplifies results exponentially. Each forward step opens new opportunities, expands networks, increases knowledge, and builds skills that make subsequent efforts more effective. The compound effect of consistent movement is what separates those who achieve extraordinary outcomes from those who remain stagnant despite having equal resources and talent. Momentum creates a rhythm of progress, a flow state where energy aligns with purpose, and results become inevitable. People who understand this principle do not rely on fleeting bursts of motivation, but instead focus on creating a system of consistent action that carries them forward, ensuring that every step, no matter how small, contributes to long-term transformation. Taking full responsibility for one's life is the cornerstone of personal power and lasting success. Many people fall into the trap of waiting for circumstances to change, blaming external factors, or hoping that opportunities will arrive on their doorstep. This mindset, however, surrenders control over life's outcomes to forces outside one's influence, leaving potential unrealized and dreams unfulfilled. True empowerment begins when a person recognizes that they are the architect of their own reality. Every thought, decision, and action contributes to the trajectory of life, and understanding this fundamental truth shifts the focus from blame to ownership, from passivity to action, and from fear to possibility. Waiting for the perfect moment is one of the most common obstacles to taking responsibility. People tell themselves that conditions need to be ideal, that they need more knowledge, more resources, or more support before they can act. In reality, waiting only prolongs stagnation. Life does not pause for preparation, it moves relentlessly forward. The individuals who achieve extraordinary results are those who take ownership of their circumstances, who act decisively despite imperfections, and who refuse to let external factors dictate their progress. By choosing to create solutions, adapt to challenges, and persist regardless of obstacles, a person asserts control over outcomes and transforms barriers into stepping stones. Responsibility also means embracing the consequences of actions, both positive and negative. It is easy to celebrate victories, but true ownership requires acknowledging mistakes, learning from failures, and adjusting strategies without excuses. This mindset builds resilience, sharpens judgment, and fosters self-confidence because a person recognizes that their success is a direct result of their efforts. When individuals internalize that they are accountable for their results, they stop wasting energy blaming others or circumstances and instead focus entirely on the actions they can take to move forward. This shift in perspective transforms challenges into opportunities for growth and accelerates progress in ways that passive waiting never can. Taking responsibility is inseparable from action. Ownership alone does not produce results. It must be paired with consistent, purposeful effort. By deciding to act in alignment with goals, values, and priorities, a person leverages the power of responsibility to create measurable outcomes. The discipline to follow through, the courage to confront uncertainty, and the commitment to persist in the face of setbacks are all manifestations of taking responsibility in practice. This approach transforms lives because it shifts the locus of control from external conditions to internal mastery, enabling a person to shape their reality, pursue meaningful goals, and unlock the full potential of their talents and abilities. Ultimately, embracing responsibility fosters freedom rather than restriction. It empowers individuals to stop waiting for circumstances to change, to stop blaming others, and to stop postponing their dreams. By accepting full ownership, a person becomes the driver of their destiny, capable of steering life in the direction they choose, creating impact, and leaving a legacy that reflects intentionality, courage, and action.